Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely stream deck. For more information about the stream deck, the link is in the description below.
Hello and welcome back to the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy F1 League on the Xbox platform. We're back for the 7th round of this season from the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve's and the Canadian Grand Prix. I just butchered Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. My name is Justin, and joining me once again, it is Andy.
You need to work on those French pronunciations, Justin. But yeah, I do love this circuit. It's a cracker. You know, it's one of the classics on the calendar. We've just left one classic from Monte Carlo, and now a kind of similar sort of street circuit style. The barriers can bite, and it is a high-speed track as well, and quite flowing and exciting. And we should see plenty of action over the course. of this race. So I'm looking forward to qualifying. Who is going to come out on top? Can anyone stop the flying Veloci surprise, Justin? Because that man is on fire. One blip in Baku. Apart from that, victories across the board.
And that blip wasn't even his fault. That was a completely, completely out of his control type of blip. So, yeah, exactly right. He's been nearly flawless this entire season. He's picked up 5 wins out of the 6 rounds that we've had so far. Yeah, it's just been unbelievable. Last time out, we did see the final race on the Xbox platform for CRG Simon as he's switching over to the PC side, which makes sense, of course, with him joining the F1 esports and all of that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it makes sense for him as AOR Franglish becomes the first to set a time, which is why we were having a look at the McLaren driver. He puts in a 108.7, and Alperball immediately displaces him, going a couple of tenths quicker, just under a couple of tenths quicker in the Williams, and with that 108.561. And yeah, it's been a while since I've actually streamed AOR, because Jess actually streamed it when we did the Monaco rerun. And I have to say, after doing so much F1 esports recently, it is really nice to actually be able to read everything on the screen, because I tell you, the stream quality on the F1 esports, the stream that we receive as the commentators, it is very difficult to read those numbers sometimes. So it is really nice to be able to see everything on the screen right now. I feel like I'm getting spoiled right now with all this information being clearly available to me. But yeah, Pinecone now going quickest, the first of the drivers to dip into the 107s. He's actually nearly 0.4 of a second quicker than any other time that anyone else has managed. 0.4 quicker than the other 5 drivers that have times on the board so far.
Pinecone getting a nice lap in, nice and early. Yeah, he's another driver that, he did join slightly late this season, missed the first couple of rounds, but since then, went on a nice run of form. 3rd in China, then 2 second places in Baku in Spain. Didn't quite go to plan for him last time out in Monaco, where he finished in 9th, but he's certainly a really quick driver. One of the youngsters, I'm not sure, I don't think he's quite of esports age yet, or is he just maybe this year?
Not yet, not quite, but soon I think. I think he's 15.
So he's another one, the likes of Leopard 2, that are just rising stars, getting up to the level where we now see Veloci surprise at. And, it's exciting to see, and Pinecone, unsurprisingly, topping up at the top of the time sheet. So a really good effort there from the young Mercedes driver. He'll be looking to get back, Justin, onto some good form after 3 straight podiums. And, of course, as I mentioned, 9th last time out in Monaco. Big opportunity for him. I should also mention, you mentioned Simon a few moments ago, moving across to PC. We have lost Murso from the season as well. He's not going to PC. He's left the league purely down to personal reasons. I'm not too sure why or what those reasons are, but that is why he is pulled out, which is a shame, because Murso was always exciting to watch in this league and always quite competitive, and very often picked up a good podium finish, didn't he, Justin?
Exactly right. Yeah, he was one of my favorite drivers, certainly. A fantastic consistency, as you already pointed out. So, yeah, he was definitely one of my favorites. I really enjoyed Morso's kind of style of approaching the races and just the way he went about things. Very mature, respectful sort of guy. Unfortunate that we'll be missing him. We do have 14 drivers for today's race. Just having a look at Bobberts as he becomes the next person to cross the line on the hard compound tires. So I am seeing a number of drivers out there on the hards. Now, typically I watch the PS4 race, is usually how I sort of warm myself up for this broadcast. But actually today I had stuff going on. Oh, we're having a look at Mulder, and it looks like he's just unfortunately invalidated that lap. Also, we lost Amazed. I'm not sure if that's something you already brought up or not, but we did lose Amazed. I'm not sure if that's... Is that... Oh! And we might be about to lose Mulder, actually. He's just bended into a barrier.
I've not seen that. I think Amazed maybe has a qualifying ban, something along the lines of that, Justin, given that he retired as soon as the session started. So that would be my assumption on that one. So I think Amazed perhaps has got himself a penalty. And I think, yes, I've just read the chat, that is the case. He has a qualifying ban, and that is why we have lost him from the qualifying session. So that's no point in him going out and doing a lap if he can't go any higher than last.
Yeah, exactly right. On the topic of Morso, though, I just want to say he's doing fantastic in the F1 esports, and maybe that's played a part in why he's decided to back off of AOR, just to focus a little bit more. Because, of course, you know, when you practice for Canada this weekend, for example, it's going to throw you off when you have an F1 esports race at Sochi. you know, just a few days prior, or you know, whatever the case might be. But it can become difficult to try and do both of those things. So that could be playing a role. But again, he is doing fantastic in the F1 esports, as is Surprise. Surprise actually last time out at Sochi, picking up the win, picking up fastest lap on the final lap of the race as well. And that wasn't even with a contra strategy. He was on the medium, very, very used set of medium compound tires, setting the fastest lap, picking up the maximum 26 points. Yeah, it's just going really, really well for him. And, you know, we always enjoy seeing the Xbox guys from AOR being successful in the F1 esports. We're going on board with TRL Martin, and he's actually just starting a lap in his Alfa Romeo here. Andy, if you want to take us through a lap, he's just making his way through turn 2.
Yep, there is TRL Martin making his way around the lap of this wonderful circuit, heading down the hill. This is a tricky section down through turns 3 and 4. You get right up close to the barrier, and Martin actually grazing against the wall there, leaving a tyre mark on it as he ends the first sector through turns number 4 and number 5 and number 6, and now through turn 7 and down this short straight. DRS active here. I think it's quite new, the DRS zone along here, one of 3 on the racetrack as he makes his way now down to the chicane, turn 8 and 9 again, getting close to the barrier on the exit, and you run down toward the end of the second sector and into the hairpin. What a scene this is, Justin. If I ever went to the Canadian Grand Prix, I'd love to sit down here. It's almost a fantastic atmosphere, you know, to see a car maybe lunging up the inside down there at the hairpin. Then through 11, not much of a corner, turn 12 as well, and then down this long back straight. Martin seems to have backed out of this particular lap. I don't think he's pushing too much. DRS shut. Then you would go through the final chicane and past the famous wall of champions, but he decides to go straight on and into the pit lane, and that's pretty much a lap of the circuit. Great overtaking opportunities along into the final chicane and down into turn 1 and 2. They're probably your best chances. As I mentioned earlier on there is a DRS zone between turn 7, 8 and 9, and you know, you can maybe make a move there, but predominantly, Justin, the best chance, turn 1 or down that back straight towards the final chicane.
Yeah, exactly right. It's not quite as heavy of a braking zone into that turn 8 chicane, so it definitely becomes a little bit harder to try and make that work. Plus, you're picking up a bit of a dirty air effect through turn 7. It's not quite a medium speed corner, I would say. It's sort of a just under a medium speed corner, but it's not exactly low speed, and you can certainly pick up a bit of that dirty air effect and end up running out wide, and that just kind of hinders your progress. But it certainly could help somebody in effort to close up to the back of the car that's ahead of them, get that move into that turn 10 hairpin that you were talking about earlier, and that could be a great way of setting up an overtake potentially in the race. We're about halfway through qualifying as it stands right now. Pinecone has gone even quicker. Still the only car to dip into the 107s. He is only one of a few drivers that set their time on the soft compound tires, actually. Let's see, are we seeing, yeah, we're seeing fitted right now. So yeah, the top 5 are all set their times on the soft compound tires. And then Leopard down to Bobberts, all of them setting their time on the hards. Mulder and Martin yet to set a time so far, and of course the Mazed with that qualifying ban won't be taking part. He'll be starting from dead last from 14th position. But yeah, we do have a number of cars out on circuit at the moment. The Ferrari of Danny F31 just coming to the end of his lap, currently 4th quickest. Let's see what he can manage. It's not a very quick lap, 4.7 seconds off the time that he set previously, so he's made a mistake at some point in there. But Overkills has just finished his lap. He's in 3rd position. 108.265 for him is very competitive. And of course, Veloce Surprise, the likes of Leopard and Surprise, P1R Brown, Verstappen, all of these guys setting their times on the hards. So we could expect pretty significant improvements from those guys as they come out for their final attempts on the soft compound tires.
I'm just interested to see, well, is everyone going to go for the softs, or are we going to see people going onto those medium tyres to set a qualifying lap? We'll have to wait and see, because it's very strange to see that you know, only 4 really quick laps or 4 laps out there on the soft tyre. So I can only assume that the likes of Surprise and Co maybe going to go and try and do a lap on the medium. 6 minutes to go. We'll have to wait and see what the strategic plan is going to be. But at the moment, it looks like it's going to be a bit of a split, Justin, doesn't it? And we do love to see a split strategy in league racing, because in recent seasons on the F1 games, the tyres become more durable to match real life. We haven't quite had that. So good to see as Danny F31 is just coming towards the end of this lap. It's a little bit quicker. It's enough to go 4th, a 1 minute 8.340 from Danny F31, Justin.
Having a look at Pinecone now. Again, the only driver so far to dip into the 107s, but again, we haven't seen the soft runs from a number of the top guys, so we can certainly expect several people probably to drop into the 107s, probably a lot of people to drop into the 107s. Again, Mulder and Martin still the only ones yet to set a time so far in this session. Let's stick with Pinecone here and see how his first sector is looking. He is on another set of soft compound tires. He's 700ths up compared to his previous best, so he is improving marginally as this track continues to rubber in, continues to get quicker and quicker. So Pinecone, again, with a disappointing result last time out in Monaco after a string of 3 races in a row with podium finishes after picking up a 3rd in China, a 2nd in Baku, and another 2nd in Spain. I'm sure he's going to be very interested in picking up a win. Oh, he's got a bit of a lockup into the turn 10 hairpin there. I don't think that slowed him down too much, so I don't think he will have lost too much time. He is still on level 4 for his ERS deployment, so he is still continuing on with this lap. Will he have enough time to get back in and fit a new set of tires? I think just about, as there's just over 4.5 minutes remaining in the session. Yeah, that was a definite... Oh, yeah, and there's some carbon fiber coming off of that Mercedes, but it doesn't matter. It's still good enough to improve his time even more. Only a couple of tenths, so 107.6 now on the board for the young Mercedes driver.
He certainly lost time there. You know, some people would suggest he cut across the corners, rid against the wall, but no, he definitely hit that pretty hard, and it would have scrubbed off quite a bit of speed, but he did still find time to go and do a 1 minute 7.6. Pretty solid effort that from Pinecone. It's a decent target for people to aim for, but I'm puzzled, Justin. Usually I would expect all these people to go out there on the soft tyres and run, but you know, the likes of Leopard, the likes of Surprise, Martin as well, all sitting in the pits, no representative time yet, and as I say that, Leopard has gone out on an outlap on a set of medium tyres, so we are looking at split strategies here today, and that is fascinating. Could that be down to the weather, perhaps?
Yeah, that's my suspicion. On the PC platform, I didn't see the entirety of the race because, of course, I needed to start setting up for this broadcast. But yeah, there was a threat of rain, which caused a number of people to actually start on the hard compound tires, try to save themselves a pit stop, so that they can just stay out there until the rain comes and then fit a set of intermediates once it reaches that level of moisture. So yeah, I think we might be seeing the same sort of thing. A number of drivers on the mediums, as we can see, Franglish all the way down to Jason actually currently on a set of medium compound tires as Alper Ball just makes his way into the pits, and he's got enough time, I think, to fit a new set of tires and get back out there. Let's see if we can find somebody who is well, not somebody who's on a lap, but Leopard is about to start his lap, so let's go on board with the man who is currently placed 2nd position in this championship. He is yet to finish off the podium. His last 2 races, though, at Spain and Monaco, have been his worst so far of the season, finishing in 3rd position. He's picked up 3 second places in the opening rounds of this season, then he picked up that win in Baku, the only other person to pick up a win so far this season that isn't Valache Surprise. So the consistency that we've seen from Leopard is absolutely incredible. At a number of races, though, it just seems that he hasn't quite had the pace to match Surprise and to begin pressuring him and all that kind of stuff. It does look like he's going to be going for the same sort of strategy here as Surprise, as both of them are out there on a set of mediums at the moment. So I don't think either of these guys will be picking up pole position, certainly not with times like Pinecone's on the board. Yeah, you got something?
I do, Justin. I've been doing a little bit of research while you've been chatting away there, and I've heard that it's going to be a dry race, so there's no threat of any rain.
Okay.
But what I'm hearing is the medium hard, the one stop going medium hard, is very similar on pace between a 2-stop going soft, medium. So there you go. We do have a split strategy situation where we've got 2 strategies that are very, very close, and that gives us a fascinating race as LCR Leopard goes 2nd quickest on a 1 minute 8.1. I also want to mention we spoke about Simon, we spoke also about Murso. I'm also going to mention that Jam Pancakes has moved into a reserve position in this league, so that's why you might not see him tonight. So that's another thing that needs to be brought up. But there you go, Justin. Interesting on strategies. We've got medium hard on the 1-stop and soft medium on the 2-stop. This is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, extremely interesting. I love when there's some 2-stoppers, when it's actually quick enough. Surprise, unsurprisingly, is going quicker on this set of mediums after setting his initial lap on a set of hard compound tires. He was 8 tenths up as of the end of Sector 2, opening the DRS now on that casino straight down towards the final chicane and the wall of champions. Let's see if he can match or better the time set by LCR Leopard, who did get within 5/10 of the time set by Pinecone. DRS open now on the start-finish straight for Veloce Surprise. He's down in 9th position at the moment. It's not good enough to beat LCR Leopard, interestingly enough. 34 thousandths of a second slower than the Red Bull of Leopard, so he doesn't have enough tire life, especially if it's going to be a dry race. He's not going to want to go for a second lap, and in fact he is stopped on circuit, so let's see if we can find somebody else, as Danny F31 actually displaces LCR Leopard. That is on a set of soft compound tires. I believe Franglish is one of the guys that is on a hot lap at the moment. Yes, he is. Mulder's... Oh, Jason as well. Let's see. Yeah, Jason's just coming to the end through the final chicane, really hustling that McLaren through that chicane, using lots of the curving as you do, staying to the right-hand side, and it is going to be a 108.541, just enough to move himself ahead of Franglish, who is on the run down towards turn 8 now, picking up some yellow flags up ahead. That is that was a racing point, so that was Verstappen. What's that?
Yeah, just keep an eye on Martin. Martin's got on a lap on the medium tyre, and he's quite far towards the end of his current lap. He's found 6/10, Justin, through the second sector on his previous best. So let's see if Martin can move himself up into the same kind of area as Leopard and Surprise on a 1 minute 8.1. Let's see as he throws it through. He didn't leave much on the table there, did he? Up to the line, it's a 108.2. He must, though, have invalidated the lap, and he fails to improve as a result of that. But goodness me, he didn't leave much on the table. Probably too much in the end. And wow. And it's cost him big time.
I was going to say Pinecone's the only person left out there, but actually it looks like he has abandoned this lap. I think he knows he's got pole at this point. Yeah, there's nobody left out there. So Bobbers
is the only man. Yeah, coming up to the line. Last man to the flag. He's 12th at the moment. Got up to 9th position. So a good final lap there. Jason's out there, but he's abandoned his too. So yeah, Justin, that is that. CRG Pinecone by 0.3 of a second on the soft compound takes pole position. The usual contenders, Leopard and Surprise, they've gone for the medium compound. I'll just mention again, if you've just tuned in, folks, soft, medium. If you start on the softs, 2-stop strategy. If you start on the medium, it's medium, hard, 1-stop. So we've got split strategies here. Very rare we see it, and it sets us up for a cracking race, Justin.
Exactly right. And if somebody does attempt to go from the softs to the hards and do a 1-stop, then they're going to have to be very, very cautious, which could make things interesting as well. So if we do see somebody attempt that different strategy, then that could make things even more interesting. We could have a third strategy thrown in the mix, so we'll have to see, but we will head to the final qualifying results just so that we can go over where everybody will be starting this Canadian Grand Prix, the 7th round of the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy F1 League on the Xbox platform. Again, it is Pinecone who takes that pole position by over 0.3 of a second. At one of the only 4 guys actually starting on the soft compound tires. It's Pinecone, then Alperball, and Danny F31, all qualifying on the softs. Then we've got 2 medium runners, the 2 championship leaders as well, of Leopard and Surprise, starting from just inside the top 5 on those mediums. VSR Overkill's a little bit off the pace, you would say, on the softs. I'm sure he would have preferred to be a little bit higher up, a couple of positions at least. In 4th position would have been ideal for him. Verstappen starts from 7th on the 4th row of the grid alongside P1R Brown in the Williams, and then the 5th row is SSR Bobberts and Jason 97 F1. Then it comes to the other McLaren of AOR Franglish, just outside the top 10, and with a fresh set of tires that can go onto his car. Now, before we head down to the grid to go to the race, we are going to have a quick word from our sponsors. Oh, would be good if I remembered to unmute myself. Okay, we are back. Thanks, everybody, for your patience. We are still waiting for everybody to get readied up so we can get underway here at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve for the 7th round of AOR Xbox One F1 League. And very excited about this one, especially after doing two races at Monaco. I am very, very excited to have a bit of variation here. And we are underway. as the drivers are doing the formation lap. Now, let's get everything. I wish it would just remember the way that I have this set up. Let's take a quick look at the tire compounds just to remind everybody it is soft, soft, soft for the top 3, then the 2 medium runners in the top 5. VSR Overkills on the softs, then a number of medium runners. AOR Franglish, interestingly enough, going for a new set of soft compound tires from 11th position, and then the other 3 drivers who are starting from outside the top 10 are going for the hard compound, the likes of Martin, Mulder, and Amazed. I'm sure Martin not thrilled about starting from 12th position. That lap time that he set was a 108 something. It was definitely enough to move himself up the order a pretty significant amount. So he's going to be keen to make up a lot of positions in this race, I would imagine.
I'm just reading there, we didn't see anything of it. Obviously, we saw Martin pushing in the final chicane. Don't know where he invalidated, but he did say in the chat that he's not happy with Alperball and Franglish, who apparently impeded him in the dirty air. So we didn't see that, Justin. I don't think you did, but I certainly didn't. So I don't know what happened there. In other news, LCR Mulder had 4 laps and managed to invalidate them all. So not a good session for him. That's why he never said a time in that session. And as you know, ESR Amaze is behind him because he had a qualifying ban. So not a good session for Mulder, not a good session for Martin, and of course Amazed had that qualifying ban, and they've all opted for the hard compound tires. The only people in the grid doing so.
They have indeed, which will be interesting to see. They're going for something completely different to the rest of them. So really, I imagine Martin's main goal is going to be to try and keep up with the top 11 as much as he possibly can, pull himself a gap as well to Mulder and Amazed, and just kind of run his own race. Because again, those 3 are running a very different strategy compared to everybody else. Now, AOR Franglish is, I would say, the best candidate to attempt the one-stop strategy on the set of softs, since his set of softs is brand new. So if he can make those softs go long enough, he's gonna have to take care of them. He can't be too aggressive on the opening stint if he wants to try and make them go into a one-stop strategy. So it's not going to be easy for Franglish, but certainly he is the prime candidate as far as making that happen. But we are about to go green here at the circuit. Gilles Villeneuve, Pinecone from pole position. Alperball alongside of him, starting a little bit further up than he is used to. Yet to score points so far in this league, but it looks like a good start, a great start for Leopard, actually. He's already moved himself up into 3rd position. It looked like he was going to challenge for 2nd, but he's gone off the circuit, and that's going to allow Velace Surprise, who's already up into 3rd position, to go side-by-side with Leopard, the 2 championship leaders, side-by-side down towards turn 3. Around the outside, a bit of grass for Surprise, picking up some grass there through turn 4. They're still side-by-side. No, in fact, Surprise has just about pulled ahead as they come into the shot, and he just about stays ahead as they make their way through turns 6 and 7. But that was a fantastic start for the likes of Velace Surprise and LCR Leopard, already jumping Danny F31, who had a bit of a difficult start. Alperball holding on to that 2nd place, but look at the gap Pinecone has already.
Pinecone disappearing off into the distance. Alperball too hot into the first corner, really cost Leopard. It took them both wide onto the runoff area, and Leopard came back, and Surprise was all over him like a rash. Leopard did well to fend him off initially, but Surprise, coming out of turn 4, got a beautiful undercut and ran through at the end of the first sector to take that place, and that is absolutely crucial. But Alperball running wide really did help Pinecone extend that gap as WR Verstappen goes side by side with Boberts and looks to have got that place. So Verstappen 6th and Boberts in 7th, with all sorts of action happening behind Justin.
Overkill's already into the pits at the end of lap 1. Andy's retired, so he must have had a big chunk of wing missing potentially, as Boberts pressures once again into turn 1, trying to get alongside the Racing Point of Verstappen, who did go defensive. Oh, and Surprise has left the session.
Oh, that's big. That's massive for this Grand Prix. That's not good for the championship leader. And Surprise out already, but he should be able to get back in. The problem is, though, Justin, and we know this, having that problem, we've got a virtual safety car now as well. And that's going to help Surprise massively. I was just about to say that Surprise leaving the session at this stage of the race is going to hurt him, because he'll lose all those places, not when the field's spread out, but in a virtual safety car situation, he's going to retain his place.
I don't think we
Incredibly fortunate there.
We can't invite him back, though, can we? I don't think we can as spectators.
No, I can try. I'll try, Justin.
Yeah, give it a shot. I won't do it because I'm broadcasting, but yeah, I don't know if we can. The last time I tried, I just could not find it out. As we go green, racing here on lap 2 for the Canadian Grand Prix, I'm on board with Franglish, who made up, unsurprisingly, a number of positions, having started on the soft compound tires behind a number of medium runners. But we have to actually switch over to Danny F31, who's coming under attack from WR Verstappen. No, I'm sorry. He was going on the attack on LCR Leopard. Bobbert's already picking up a 3-second time penalty. Leopard is going to defend the inside line on the run down towards turn 1. Danny F31 around the outside on the softer compound tires is going to make the move. Unbelievable, actually, from Danny F31. It's surprised his car is still going around. It is ghosted, though. He's in 3rd position, but he's about to lose that to the likes of Danny F31, who just made that overtake on Leopard. And indeed, the Ferrari now finds himself once again in that 3rd place where he actually started the race. So actually not too bad. Leopard being demoted back down into 4th position where he started the race. Verstappen now up into 5th as he becomes the next car to move ahead of Veloce Surprise, who again is just his AI car is essentially ghosting around the circuit at the moment. We do have a pretty tight battle, it looks like, for 7th position. Yeah, Franglish, P1R Brown, Bobberts, all of these guys running very close to one another. Bobberts is about to become the next person to move ahead of Surprise as well as they make their way down into the hairpin. And Bobberts is just about going to get ahead. Yes, he does move ahead. And Surprise's struggles continue. Unfortunately, we are hoping that he can get back in because, of course, we never want to see anybody lose a race in that sort of fashion. But that is unfortunate for Surprise. So we do hope that he can get back in. It didn't look like he was going to make the overtake there on Danny F31, LCR Leopard. So moving back to this battle, it looks like Franglish really pressuring Bobberts as they get into the first corner. It's lap 4, so DRS is active, of course, or hasn't been reactivated since the virtual safety car. I'm actually not sure. I haven't caught that message.
Hold on, I'm just trying to get Surprise in. I've not managed to do it so far. I've not got him on my friends list, but if I can get him in, I will try to do so. So bear with me, Justin. I'm not watching the race at the minute.
Yep, no problem, no problem. Again, we continue to watch this battle between Bobberts, Franglish, and P1R Brown. I'm trying to keep my eye on that gap between Leopard and Danny. Of course, Danny will get slower and slower as the race goes on, being on those soft compound tires. And Leopard is going to be more and more keen to try and get by, especially as Pinecone is really starting to break away now. It's a 3.5 second gap between Pinecone and Alper Ball. It's about 6 seconds between Pinecone and LCR Leopard, which is exactly what the young Mercedes driver wants from this opening stint. Having started on the softer compound tires, he really just needs to build a gap as much as possible, and he is doing exactly that at the moment. Jason 97 F1. Nope, that's on Surprise. I apologize for switching to that one. And Leopard actually has made the overtake on Danny F31. I missed that into the final chicane just before the Wall of Champions, so great move from him. Let's see if we can pick up AOR Franglish. It looks like he's getting very close to the back of Bobberts, who has picked up oh, and Surprise has joined. Was that your doing, or was that somebody else?
I don't think so. I was doing everything I could. I handed him as a friend, but that's all I managed to do. I couldn't get in the lobby, but he is back. Right, at the very least, I don't think he managed to join through me adding him as a friend. I think he managed to get an invite from someone else. But good to have him back, and hopefully he can come charging through the field. That should give us plenty of entertainment. He's still 11th. He's not back in the car just yet. But when he does get going, I'm sure he'll come racing back through, Justin, and that will give us some good entertainment.
Exactly. I'm really excited about this, actually. He's dropped all the way down to 11th, but he is extremely quick, as we all know, after winning 5 out of 6 races in this season so far. So it is going to be a fight back from outside of the points for Veloce Surprise. Let's see how high he can go. He is on that, you would say, possibly better strategy. I mean, I guess it really depends from driver to driver, but he is on that one-stop strategy, so potentially he might not be in an absolutely terrible spot. He will have track position when the soft runners come in, like Alper Ball and Danny F31 and those guys, as Franglish moves himself ahead of Bobberts. Danny F31 becomes the next driver to pick up a 3-second time penalty, and it looks like Surprise and Martin are swapping positions, and Martin is actually into the pits. That can't be planned, having started on the hard compound tires. I wonder if he's just lost a bit of front wing, potentially.
He has. Yeah, I've just seen it there, Justin. Right, end plate damaged. He must have brushed against the wall somewhere. And when you start on the hard compound tire, that is not what you want, and Ouch. He's actually retired from the session. So not good news for TRL Martin. A bit of a messy weekend for him. Never got the qualifying hooked up in the first 6 laps of the race. He's made contact with the barrier or something rather firmer on his front wing, and his session is over. His race is over, and that's a real shame for TRL Martin. So Pinecone out front, opening up that gap. Meanwhile, WR Verstappen very close to the back of Danny F31. Is he going to have a go into the hairpin? Yes, he is. Up the inside he goes, trading paint with the Ferrari down at turn 10, and he looks to have found his way through. Brilliant stuff there from WR Verstappen. They still go jostling down the straight. He is in front, but now Danny F31 will have the slipstream, but I don't think he's got the straight line speed. He's not got the DRS. WR Verstappen does, and he's through behind that. Meanwhile, look at Franglish. Down the inside he goes on P1R Brown. Single file through there. P1R Brown backs out of it. Pinecone to the pits, meanwhile, as now P1 Brown goes side by side down the straight with Bobberts into turn one. Is he going to lose another place? Yes, he is. Round the outside goes Bobberts. Onto the grass goes Bobberts. And that should give P1 Brown the traction on the exit. And he might just hold off the prancing horse for now. All sorts of action going on. And P1 Brown does get through. But has Pinecone damaged the wing? Because that's an early pit stop. Or is that generally how far those softs will go?
I think that might actually be just how far the softs go, potentially. But yeah, that was an incredible scrap. We saw Verstappen and Danny F31 battling Franglish and Brown and Bobberts. All of these guys getting involved as well, too. A bit bigger gaps once you start going behind this. Jason 97 F1, 2 seconds adrift of Bobberts at the moment. Let's go ahead and just remind ourselves what tire compound everybody is on at the moment. So again, Alperball, one of those soft starters, as well as Danny F31. Franglish starting on the softs, but he started on a fresh set of soft compound tires. He's up 6 positions in this race, is AOR Franglish. He's having an absolute heck of a day. Let's have a look at P1R Brown. Is he going to be close enough with the use of the DRS on Franglish? No, he's going to be a few car lengths back as they get into the braking zone. That's Danny F31 also pitting at the end of lap 7 to get rid of his soft compound tires. So it does seem that the softs are starting to fall off. But Franglish and Alperball continuing on for another lap. Leopard really starting to close down that gap to Alperball, though now it's 1.5 seconds between that pair. P1R Brown getting very close to the back of Franglish as they made their way through turns 1 and 2. SSR Bobberts sticking to the back of this as well. He's got at least 1 penalty. Oh, a big tank slapper. Big oversteer moment for Bobberts there. Coming out of turn 4, makes contact with the barrier, but I don't think he lost any of his front wing as a result of that. No puncture or anything, so I think he just lost a bit of time as a result of that. Meanwhile, though, P1R Brown with the DRS, is he going to try a move into turn 8? We said before, it's not ideal. It's not the best overtaking location, but Franglish a little bit out of sorts through that chicane. That's going to allow the Williams to close up pretty significantly. He's actually going to be alongside as they get into the brakings over the hairpin. P1R Brown later onto the brakes, moves ahead of AOR Franglish. Let's see if Franglish can get the exit that he needs to fight this back against the Williams, but no. Wow, P1R Brown with fantastic exit speed coming out of that hairpin with the DRS, of course, as well, too. I think is going to maintain that position ahead. Bobberts, though, becomes the next to look up the inside on Franglish as they get into the final chicane. Is Franglish going to pit? He does indeed go into the pits. Surprise now up into 6th position after Franglish's pit stop. But that is, of course, after a few people have been into the pits. So Surprise already gaining positions. Pinecone setting fastest lap of the race on a set of mediums. So clearly... that's one thing that I didn't point out. Pinecone went onto the medium, so does that mean he's on the... Oh, Verstappen with the time penalty now. Does that mean that Pinecone's on the 2-stop? I'm not sure. Yeah, you'd think so.
Yeah, it's soft, medium, medium. 2-stop strategy. If you start on the softs, you've got to go medium, medium. I don't think you can go softs to hard. I think that's too slow. So soft, medium, medium. Pinecone needs to make this work. He needs to cut through the field. He's already past Mulder, and he's now right behind Jason. The only way the 2-stop's going to be quicker is if he makes the moves work, and he's done it there. Easing past Jason as if he wasn't even there and up into 7th place. Pinecone doing the job, doing the business. If he wants to win his first race this season, he's doing things exactly as he needs to. Good work there from the youngster, and he's up now into 7th place. Can he make it work? Because up front, Leopard has just breezed past Alperball. The Turk is dropped down to 2nd place, and Leopard takes the lead as Alperball pits. And I would assume, Justin, he will also opt for the medium tyre and the 2-stop. Let's see what he does in case he goes for the hard to the finish. This will be quite interesting to see.
Surprise was also closing up pretty significantly on Bobberts at the end of lap 9 there, but in the end, the Ferrari peeling off into the pits, so Surprise gains another position. He's now up into 4th with about a 2-second gap between himself and the Williams of P1R Brown. Pinecone right behind him, about 1.1 seconds on much fresher medium tires compared to that of the Alfa Romeo up ahead, so Pinecone is certainly going to be very aware of this situation and doing his absolute best to try and get past Surprise as quickly as he possibly can. But essentially, they both have one stop to make at this point, and Pinecone's next stop is going to be onto another faster set of medium compound tires compared to Surprise, who is going to have to go onto the hards to the end of the race because, of course, he can't go on the softs to the end of the race, and he can't fit another set of mediums if he's doing a one-stop strategy. So Pinecone already within DRS range. He's gained about 0.3 of a second on Veloce Surprise. Oh, a big lockup for Surprise into the hairpin, though, is going to put Pinecone even closer, less than 0.6 between the two of them as they power their way onto the Casino Straight. He's going to pick up the DRS. I don't think he's going to be close enough to make the attack here. Maybe let's switch over to Danny F31. He's pretty close to the back of Alper Ball. Yep, I think Danny F31 is going to breeze past the Williams even before DRS activation. A really good move there. And Pinecone has overtaken Surprise? How did that happen? I thought for sure he wasn't going to make that happen into the final chicane, so that's why I switched over to Danny F31. How far back did he break from? That must have been incredible.
Didn't see it, but Pinecone realises, Justin, that he has got a great opportunity here to take a victory, and he is not hanging about. He's sliding his way through the field one by one. He's passing them. I should also mention Danny F31 went onto the same strategy as Pinecone. Alperball, who's just been overtaken by Danny, is going to the finish. He is the only man I've seen so far, perhaps Franglish as well, and Bobberts have gone from softs straight onto hard. So I presume Alperball and the like are going all the way to the finish.
That's gonna be a tall order. That's not gonna be easy by any stretch of the imagination. Pinecone continues his charge. Yeah.
Amaze going really wide there at turns 8 and 9, and Danny F31 is going to have him easy peasy. Side by side they will go down into the hairpin. Danny on the inside, Amazed on the outside, and through he goes. Amaze just overcooked it, Justin, going into turn 8 and 9. Went wide, and then Danny pounced and down into the hairpin. So that was the move there.
Yep, made it rather easy for him by the sounds of it. So Amazed drops down into 8th position. Verstappen, Brown, Surprise, all into the pits at the end of lap 11. So they will be going a 24-lap stint, presumably onto a set of hards. It is indeed a set of hards for P1R Brown and Valache Surprise as well. And Verstappen, I presume, should be going onto those as well. Let's see if anybody's, where is Surprise going to come out of the pits. Let's go on board with him as the Alfa Romeo just makes his way through. He's going to be right behind Franglish, who is also on the same strategy, having switched from the softs onto the hards. So he's on slightly older tires compared to Surprise. And Surprise is, let's just say it, he is a quicker driver than Franglish, certainly over 1 lap pace and all that kind of stuff. So I imagine Surprise is going to be very keen to get past the McLaren here as quickly as he can.
I also mentioned, Justin, that WR Verstappen's lost a lot of ground there. He had to change his front wing when he was in the pit lane there, so things have not gone too well for them. They're usually so good in qualifying. Sometimes it derails in the race, you know, and it's a shame for him. If he could just work on that race pace a little bit, he'd maybe perform slightly better. So it's not good for him. Front wing damage, and that's why he's lost so much ground. So as you mentioned, Surprise now right on the tail of AOR Franglish, and this should be slam dunk down the back straight. Surprise going to the end on these hard tyres, as is Franglish. 3-lap pressure tyres, and here comes the World Championship leader. Is he going to make that move into the braking zone? Not quite. Franglish has it covered. I'm a bit surprised at that, to be honest. Franglish had that covered quite easily. Verstappen now picks up a 3-second time penalty as Surprise tries once more into the first corner. Not close enough. No way through. And we should mention there's only 2 seconds, 1.8 seconds between Leopard and Pinecone, and Pinecone in the pits already. Astonishing pace from Pinecone. Astonishing how quickly he's dispatched some of the drivers in this field. What a drive this is turning into from CRG Pinecone.
Oh, Surprise up the inside into turn 6. Not the most common of overtaking locations, but the Alfa Romeo pounces and claims yet another victim, moves himself up into what is now 8th position. He has no stops still to make. Amaze needs to stop. Mulder needs to stop. And the Leopard needs to stop. I don't know. Oh, and speaking of Amaze, he's just lost another position to P1R Brown. Is there front wing damage on that Red Bull? I think there might be, you know. Yeah, he is missing his right end plate on that Red Bull. So ESR Amaze, unfortunately, on the hard compound tires, is going to have to go until about lap 20, at least 18, I would say. So he's going to have to do a few more laps with that damage on the Red Bull, so that's not ideal for him whatsoever. He loses a position to Brown, and up next it is, in fact, Valache Surprise as he continues that charge through the field. He's got every bit of his front wing on that Alfa Romeo, so he should have not too much of an issue, but this is actually very, very tight between several... Oh, and Leopard's into the pits, and he's gone onto a set of hards. Oh, where is he going to come out relative to Valache Surprise, actually? He's going to come out of the pits well behind him, actually.
Front wing, Justin. He had to change his front wing in the pits, that's why. So I just noticed there, LCR Leopard, I saw the front wing getting taken off by the mechanics. So he's another one that succumbed to some front wing damage. And LCR Leopard is way down the field. He's even behind WR Verstappen. Oh! And oh, the crash! Round goes Amazed into a spin. Across the runoff area goes WR Verstappen. Absolute carnage down at turn 6. Just saw that in front of us, Justin. I assume you were also on board with Leopard there. And yeah, goodness me, chaos there. And now off the road goes Verstappen again. Wow. All sorts of drama there. I was just going to say, how did Leopard end up behind all these guys? Full of time. Because even Verstappen had to change his wing, and Leopard still ended up behind him. Astonishing stuff. He's in front of him now, and Amazed. Is it a nightmare? Not sure what happened there. They just all seemed to come together at turn 6, Justin, didn't they?
Leopard now with the DRS. Looks like he's going to grab an easy position off of Franglish here. He's got much fresher tires compared to the McLaren, both of them on the hards, but of course Franglish having pit much earlier, having started on the soft compound. So Leopard moves himself into 7th position, but already a 2.8 second gap between himself and Surprise. It's only a 2-lap difference between the two of them, as Verstappen also makes the overtake on AOR Franglish. Is there front wing damage on Franglish's car, I wonder? No, there's not. He's got all of his front wing. He's just, unfortunately, doesn't really have the pace, it seems, on these on this hard compound tire. So it's unfortunate after what was a fantastic start for Franglish, actually. I mean, it was really unbelievable. I was starting to think that it was actually a stroke of genius that he went onto the soft compound tires, but unfortunately, that decision seems to be kind of backfiring on him now. Verstappen closing up to the back of Leopard. I believe Verstappen has at least 3 seconds worth of time penalties, possibly more, as they make their way down towards the turn 10 hairpin. Is he going to try and size Leopard up? No, he's going to be a couple of car lengths back, not able to make the overtake. Takes a very different line, very late apex, or really misses his apex completely. So that's given Leopard just a little bit of breathing space between himself and the racing point behind. So Leopard does maintain that position for the meantime. Verstappen does seem very quick on the set of mediums, but then again, he would, of course, be seem very quick. Didn't Verstappen... Oh, it's another penalty for Verstappen. He's got at least 6 or 9 seconds worth of penalties at this point. Does the racing point of Verstappen. So clearly very quick, but he's making a lot of small mistakes out there, and it's not working out well for him, as Danny as well picking up a 3-second time penalty.
All the evidence showing that it is a track that is easy to pick up penalties, and yeah, I would assume that on paper, Justin, because there's so many high-speed apex or high-speed entries into corners, so easy to cut the inside of a corner, trying to find that extra bit of time. You've got that final chicane, just all those chicanes, Justin, it's all very easy to just be a little bit too greedy, coming in at high speed, get your line wrong, and that's why we're seeing so many penalties here today. Reminds me a little bit of places like Albert Park, for example. I'd actually say this is a little bit worse, and yeah, a lot of drivers suffering from those time penalties. But Verstappen not dropping off the back of Leopard at all. Another late apex, Justin, as he did in the previous lap, looking for that better exit, and with the DRS, is he going to have a chance going down into the final chicane? Let's have a little look as he opens up that DRS into mode 4. Leopard defends the inside, doesn't want to have that racing point gathering the toe.
That was a brave bit of weaving.
Yeah, it was brave. He's coming in again.
That is
interesting. Oh, he's leaving.
Oh,
so there you
okay.
go.
Yep, and Verstappen is retired. So I would assume just the amount of penalties that he had is the reason for that. We do have a battle for what is currently 2nd position on the circuit, though. LCR Mulder has not stopped yet, though, so that's the difference between these guys. Mulder's still out there on his starting set of tires as Franglish becomes the next person to pick up a 3-second time penalty, but it is rather close. These are in fact the only people that are within DRS range of one another. Danny F31 picking up the DRS off of LCR Mulder. Alperball similarly picking up the DRS off of the Ferrari of Danny F31 up ahead. I don't think Alperball is going to be close enough here, but Danny, with a good enough exit coming out of this hairpin, could potentially find his way moving past LCR Mulder as they get to the end of the straight. I don't think he's gotten the exit that he needs. That's maybe 4 or 5 car lengths back as they activate DRS. He will begin to close down on the Toro Rosso ahead of him now, but of course the braking zone comes at you pretty quickly. It seems like a nice long straight until you're in an F1 car, and then, it's only about 5 seconds worth of driving until you're into the braking zone already. Let's see if Mulder's going to defend the inside line into turn 1. He does indeed. Danny F31 much later onto the brakes, looks to the outside. Both of them run a little bit wide. This could be an opportunity for Danny, actually, if he gets a good exit coming out of turn 2, if he can get the inside line into turn 3. No, it looks like Mulder maintains the position. I would have said that was a bit naughty from Mulder. Oh, never mind. Let's actually continue to focus on that. He's gotten a great exit, but Mulder positions that Toro Rosso very well on the run between 5 and 6 and just kind of goes to the middle of the circuit. And again, you can just hear how Danny F31 is having to manage that throttle so he doesn't drive into the back of that Toro Rosso. But up the inside into the turn 8 chicane, he is going to grab that position off of the Toro Rosso, who is again on very old tires. Alperball trying to squeeze by as well, but Mulder is having none of it. Actually, pretty good defensive driving, I got to say, here from Mulder.
He's got to defend like this, Justin, as well, because he's going through the painful stage now on the hard compound tyre. He's going to come roaring back through on a set of fresh mediums later on in this Grand Prix. And for the guy that invalidated 4 laps out of 4 in qualifying, he's putting together a pretty decent race, as is Danny. They have got a couple of penalties between them, I should mention, and Danny's coming into the pits. So Danny's now coming up for that second stop. Alperball, that's a shame for him. That's his first penalty of the afternoon. He was having a great day, and he was on track, looking
Whoa!
and staring at potential podium. Oh no, off the track and into the wall, and the front wing is damaged, and he's retired from the race. I was just going to say, he was on track for a potential podium here, and not anymore. Out of the race goes Alperball, and that is a crying shame. He just got that all wrong, nearly ran into the back of Mulder, and then, you know, in a pathetic style, in an embarrassing style, just kind of rolled off and clipped the barrier. That's a shame, Justin, for him. And Alperball, who had been having such a good afternoon, is now out of the race.
Yeah, one of only a few drivers that has yet to score so far in this season. It was really looking good for him. Like it was looking like he might be picking up his first championship points of the year, but P1R Brown is now, so from one Williams to another, after Mulder deals with Alperball, he's now got the other Williams of P1R Brown straight onto the back of him with much fresher hard compound tires, 11 laps fresher compared to Mulder. Gets a great exit coming out of the chicane and breezes past that Toro Rosso as Mulder dives into the pits at the end of lap 19. So he's looking to do a 16 lap stint on a set of mediums, which on the low fuel that he has, I would imagine that should be pretty easy. Shouldn't be too difficult for him to do those 16 laps. So P1R Brown moves himself up into what is currently second position. And he has been in, I don't expect he's going to stop again. Surprise isn't going to stop again. He's got Leopard right behind him, does Surprise. And then Surprise is actually starting to close up to the back of P1R Brown. So these guys could kind of close up to one another, and we could end up having a three-way scrap between Brown, Surprise, and Leopard here for what is second position at the moment. But Pinecone is yet to pit for the second time, right? Yes, that's correct. Pinecone still needs to come into the pits once again, but he has a 19-second gap down to P1R Brown. I don't know what the pit stop loss time is. I think he might... Ooh, oh, no. Oh, man, we're commentator cursing everybody out here today. This is not going well. But yeah, Pinecone, I think, could still potentially be on for a win here, even with that 3-second time penalty. I'm not giving up hope here. I believe in Pinecone.
He should win from here. He can't go getting too many penalties, though, because Veloci Surprise doesn't hand out penalties cheaply, does he? So
no, yeah.
You know, you need to be pretty careful. Pinecone had been putting a good race together, but he can't go doing that again and again and again. Even if he shows a little bit of caution, Justin, he should quite comfortably, even after his pit stop, get right onto the tail Surprise and P1R Brown and the like and cruise past them. Surprise is very quick, but he surely isn't going to quick enough to hold back Pinecone when he's on fresh medium tyres. So Pinecone just needs to stay relaxed, keep it calm, and he should be able to pick up this victory because it's all set up perfectly for him here, Justin.
Yep. He hasn't gotten the win yet this year. He's picked up 3 podiums out of the 4 races that he has attended, but he has yet to take the top step. But then again, everybody has yet to take the top step, aside from this man in the Alfa Romeo and the Red Bull behind him. Those are the only 2 guys that have picked up any race wins so far in Season 18. And I have to say, is it looking dark outside, or is that just like a fog? No, it is looking rather cloudy. We did say that it was predicted to be a dry race, so I'm not expecting any rain to fall or anything like that, but it is looking rather gloomy out there. It is, I think, is worth pointing out. Only 10 cars still remaining in this race. LCR Leopard really closing up to the back of Surprise. I have to say, Leopard, I think, is closing up to Surprise quicker than Surprise is closing up to P1R Brown, which is really surprising stuff. I don't know if that means Brown is doing really well or if that means Surprise is just struggling a little bit out there. But yeah, to see the incredible... I mean, again, he won at Sochi in the F1 Esports just this past Thursday, 3 days ago, by a pretty significant margin. It honestly looked easy for him out there. And here he is, completely different track. And he's still doing an incredible job, despite disconnecting as well, too. He's actually ahead of Leopard. And I have to say, it's really impressive stuff. Boberts picks up a 3-second time penalty. I don't think that's his first. I do believe that Boberts already has one. But here we go with Leopard, as Surprise thought about defending the inside line into the hairpin. Leopard could be later on the brakes. He is indeed with the inside line into the hairpin. He moves ahead of Surprise. Surprise is going to try maybe a cutback maneuver, just try and get that better exit. Unfortunately for him, though, Leopard is going to be picking up the DRS and the slipstream off of that Williams ahead of him. Surprise is so close. There's maybe half a meter between the two of them. Surprise moving out of the slipstream. It looks like P1R Brown. I don't know if you're seeing this as well, Andy, but is P1R Brown kind of warping a little bit for you, or is that just me?
Yeah, Yes, for me a little bit as well. They're going to need to be careful negotiating. Leopard trying to go right round the outside. He was so late on the brakes there. That is absolutely stunning from LCR Leopard. How did he stop that? No idea. And through he goes. P1 Brown caught by Surprise, and Surprise follows him through. That is one of the moves of the season from LCR Leopard. How did that car stop, Justin? Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, that was absolutely incredible. Danny F31 moving ahead of AOR Franglish as Franglish picks up a 3-second time penalty. So unfortunately, his day is going from good to bad to worse. But he is still on to pick up some points here. Of course, everybody that finishes the race at this point is going to be picking up some championship points. So at this point, you know, I imagine some of these guys are going to be, wow. And actually, look at the gap. Hold on, I got to switch over to Franglish really quickly. Is he like missing a front wing? I think he is, you know. It's giving me the worst camera angle ever, so I can't actually see what's going on. But I think Franglish has actually lost his entire front wing. As Surprise looks to the inside on Leopard, but no, can't quite find a way alongside the Red Bull as Leopard defends the inside line into that final chicane. Let's see if Surprise can get him into turn 2. But yeah, unfortunately for Franglish, I think he may have lost his entire front wing.
The majority of it's gone, Justin. One side of it is completely gone, so he'll be coming into the pits. I can tell just by the way he's steering, so Franglish definitely is going to have to come into the pits and come off those hard tyres and lap or something maybe, and try and get a few points. We'll wait and see, but yeah, he's coming into the pits. So things not going well, but we should shuffle back up to Surprise versus Leopard, because that is pretty tasty, Justin, isn't it?
It sure is. Just a quick question. If you're Franglish, would you try to go onto the softs with the 12-lap stint at the end of the race? I think that's a little bit too much. If that had happened, I don't know, maybe 3, 4, 5 laps later, you know, easily he could have gone onto the softs, no problem. But a 12-lap stint on the set of softs, I don't think that's going to work. It looks like he is going to fit a set of the mediums. So unfortunately for Franglish, he is going to drop down to 10th position. However, Bobberts does have, I believe, at least 6 seconds worth of penalties, possibly even more than that, and he is going to be absolutely rapid on that new set of mediums with that full front wing. But meanwhile, Surprise looks to the inside once again off of Leopard, and they are going to be side by side just about, but it looks like Surprise is going to take that second place position off of LCR Leopard. I don't think this is over just yet, and interestingly enough, P1R Brown, who just picked up a 3-second time penalty, is looking to go side by side with Leopard as well. Contact between the two of them. The Williams is off of the circuit, and I don't think he's going to be happy about that one, but at the same time, I really think Leopard was saying to him, you know, this is not your fight. This is between me and Surprise. But I think P1R Brown had the right to be there. So I don't know if that's going to end up going to the stewards or not, because of course, you know, not every incident is automatically investigated in AOR. It specifically has to be brought to the stewards. So whether or not P1R Brown thinks that is worth bringing to the stewards or not, we will have to find out probably at the next race, honestly, unless you guys follow Brown on Twitter. But this battle is not over between Leopard and Surprise, and to be honest, Andy, I kind of hope it goes on for the next 10 laps.
Yeah, I think it will carry on due to the strength of the DRS and the slipstream. It will just keep going one way then the other. Surprise gets really all over the place. The rear end snaking there on the exit of turn number 10 and through 11. And Leopard is going to have another opportunity to come straight back through. He's going to go down the inside into the wall of champions. Two future champions battling, you could say. And there you go, very, very close between them. And Surprise just about holds on. I just want to mention, I've been delving into the history books, Justin, to see if Pinecone has ever won a race in the top tier, and I'd like to tell you that he has not. So this would be CRG Pinecone.
Now, you've just reminded me that Pinecone is in this race. I'm not going to lie, I completely forgot about him because we are just so engrossed in what is this completely fantastic battle for second position. But I just wonder with how long. So Pinecone did 6 laps on a set of soft tires. I think that's right. Verstappen's into the pits. I believe Pinecone did 6 laps on a set of softs in a 29-lap or a 35-lap race that would leave 29 laps to go. So he would have come in after 14 or 15 laps. However, Pinecone is still out there, having done 19 laps.
He's coming in now, Justin, as we speak.
And now,
he's coming in.
Will it be for softs, though? That's the question, I think.
No, mediums, definitely mediums. Scotty, the mediums. No, it is soft. It is.
Oh, yes.
I stand corrected as Leopard dives up the inside of Surprise. That's another great move from Leopard. These two are just knocking lumps out of one another. This is brilliant stuff. And is Surprise going to come straight back through? No, he's not. He can't do that. Where is Pinecone going to be? He's going to be right there on the exit. Look. that in between them. Oh my word. That is astonishing. And Pinecone slithering through in between the pair. Surprise will be thinking, surely not. Yes way. Pinecone, first of all, catches me by surprise by going onto those tires. I don't think that strategy would work. But he's obviously played a brilliant stint on those medium tires to make them last, and he goes on to the softs, and this should be easy pickings for Pinecone. He's already all over the back of Leopard. How did he slide in between those two there? There was no space for it. I've got no idea. He's going to wait, bide his time, and try and mince this Red Bull down the back straight and put him on course for a first ever Tier 1 victory in AOR. Here comes CRG Pinecone. What could Leopard do about it? Surely absolutely nothing. The Bull has got no answer to the Silver Arrow, and he breezes past into the lead of the race. He does have a 3-second time penalty though. We know Surprise doesn't. I'm not too sure about Leopard, so he needs to run like hell. A Surprise has enough at Leopard, round the outside he goes, he's a little bit wide. Are they going to make contact? They're banging wheels. Incredible stuff. And Leopard is just going to hold on. And the more they battle, the more that will help Pinecone run along up the road, Justin. What a race this is turning into.
This is incredible. I actually, my arm hair was standing up when Pinecone slotted in between the two of them coming out of the pits. That was absolutely incredible. I think worth pointing out as well that P1R Brown is not that far off of this battle. He is keeping within about 1.5 seconds, not quite within DRS range of this pairing, as Surprise gets very close to the back of the Red Bull under braking for turn 8, but not quite close enough to think about going up the inside. He is pretty low on ERS as well, so we may potentially see Surprise do a bit of harvesting, a bit of energy harvesting for a few laps potentially before he attempts to give it another go on Leopard. Speaking of, let's go over to Leopard. He is in a similar sort of situation as far as his energy recovery. So this pairing are both pretty low as far as the ERS is concerned. What's Pinecone at? He's got plenty, more than 50% of his ERS on that Mercedes, so he is looking very comfortable, already pulling a gap of 1.6 seconds as he sets the fastest lap of the race, unsurprisingly, on that new set of soft compound tires. Yeah, I was saying, if you're going to do 29 laps in 2 stints, and you're going to, fit a set of mediums for both stints, why would you go 19 laps on the first one? So that's what immediately made me think that he might be going on to the soft compound tire. So indeed, Veloce Surprise is kind of hanging back at the moment. He seems to be doing some ERS harvesting. I imagine a similar sort of situation for LCR Leopard. Unfortunately for Pinecone, I think he is going to get his first ever AOR Xbox One F1 win here, but he's going to get so little camera time. We barely saw him for the first half of the race, and he's just taking off into the distance. So why would we focus on him when we have this incredible battle for second going on? So it's unfortunately, it's unfortunate in this situation that Pinecone's going to pick up this win, but he's going to get almost no camera time during the broadcast. But I have to say, really, really impressive stuff for Pinecone, and who knows, this could be the first win of many.
Sure could, Justin. He's not yet 3 seconds clear, but he will be pretty soon, I would think, because Leopard and Surprise both do not have a 3-second time penalty. But Pinecone, look at that, pumping in yet another fastest lap of the race, opening that gap out bit by bit. He surely will get that gap over it, and he now does get it over the 3-second margin. I just want to say, we've seen so many penalties in this race, and this tells you just how much of an alien Veloci Surprise is. He doesn't only have no penalties, he doesn't have even a warning.
What? What a guy.
We've seen all these penalties from everyone else. He doesn't even have a warning to his name. That just shows you the difference between a good driver and an absolutely incredible driver. The man is incredible. What a drive. This is all after having suffered for about 5 laps, waiting to get back into the session, and he's still competing at the front end. Astonishing. It really is incredible. What a talent for the future he has. But, got to hand it to Pinecone and Leopard. They're even younger than him, and they have got plenty of potential as well, and at the moment they are really frustrating Surprise this afternoon.
This is turning out to be an absolute classic. I'm really, really enjoying this. I have to say, Surprise, though, is having to use a lot of ERS to keep up with Leopard. He's down to 10%, just over 10% as they get into the braking zone for that final chicane. What's Leopard at? Similar sort. In fact, he's got even less ERS. So Leopard is actually using a lot of ERS to try and break away from Surprise, but unfortunately for the Red Bull driver, it's not quite working out. Surprise is closer than he's ever been, or as close as he has been in this entire race. Clearly, those guys are pushing very hard, though, as they've actually built about another 1.5 seconds between themselves and P1R Brown down in 4th position, who does have a 3-second time penalty. I remember that, the Williams of P1R Brown picking up a 3-second time penalty earlier. He's got about 6.6 seconds down to LCR Mulder, who looks like he's on for a top 5 finish. I know Danny F31 has at least one 3-second time penalty as well. And then it is a sizable gap down to Jason 97 F1 in 7th position. He's down there in 7th ahead of Franglish by about 5 seconds, who is narrowly ahead of Bobbers on a set of hard compound tires. I do apologize to all the midfield guys that are out there putting in good races and all that kind of stuff, but we just cannot look away from this battle. The gap at the front, 4.6 seconds between Pinecone and Leopard. He's pulling out about, I don't know, 8/10 a lap, something like that. It's a pretty sizable amount. Surprise is going to look to the inside into the final chicane. No, he's not. Stays behind for the meantime. Leopard taking the chicane, getting close to the wall, but not touching it. Here comes Surprise, though. He's kicked up the ERS deployment. He is going to be to the outside for turn 1. Late enough on the brakes, though, and actually swoops in and takes the apex, moves himself into 2nd position. But again, I have to really emphasize this. I don't think this battle is over. I don't think Leopard is just going to let him go. I think he's going to push like hell, try to keep up with the back of him, try to retake him. There's about 3 2/3 laps remaining in this race for this pairing, and I have a feeling they're going to be within 1 second of each other for this entire time, and I am here for it.
Yeah, this is brilliant. This is what we want to see, Justin. The top two in the championship really at each other's throats, having a right good battle. It's been brilliant to watch so far. Was that the final manoeuvre from Surprise? He does have older tyres though than Leopard, so it would be surprising if Surprise just disappeared. And there you go, he's sliding wide, and he got a terrible run through there. And now Leopard is right on his gearbox and is surely going to repass Veloci Surprise going down towards that final chicane. He's gaining. He's not using any ERS, though. He's just charging the battery. He's going to wait for a run. So let's see if he's going to go for it. DRS open again. He gets a poor exit, and Surprise, you would think, Justin, has been let off the hook on this occasion.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, you were exactly right. It looked like he was possibly going to go for the overtake into the final chicane, but he dropped his ERS down to 0, decided to do a bit of harvesting. Currently sitting at 35%, Veloci Surprise at 24% as I switched over to the Alfa Romeo and just did a quick check as they make their way through the 3-4 chicane, through the high-speed turn 5, into the braking zone for turn 6. Surprise maintaining that position. Coming up to the penultimate lap pretty soon. We're on lap 33 out of 35, 6.3 seconds now between Pinecone and Surprise. I really don't think he's going to run into any sort of issues on that soft compound. I think he has really judged this to perfection. I cannot believe, actually, that Pinecone has done this so well. I wonder, in fact, if Surprise didn't have that connection, how close it would be between the two of them. I think Surprise would have gotten the win, or Leopard. I think one of these guys would have gotten the win only because of the time penalty from Pinecone. If Pinecone hadn't gotten the time penalty and Surprise hadn't gotten disconnected, I think it would have been very close between the two of them. But because of the penalty, if Surprise hadn't had that connection issue, I think he maybe would have picked up the win here. But Leopard absolutely pushing him. Because, of course, Surprise would have been further ahead of Leopard into turn 1. Oh, that's a lunge from the Red Bull driver. He picks up 2nd position at the start of the penultimate lap with a dive into turn 1. And he moves himself back into P2. And Surprise with 27% ERS, 40% for Leopard. I imagine he is going to be using pretty high deployment here in an effort to try and lose that Alfa Romeo behind him. Neither of these guys with any sort of penalties or anything like that. So he's going to have to do it on track, is Surprise. But this would be fantastic for the championship, actually. At the moment, it's 19 points between the two of them. So if Leopard can actually close that in, that would be fantastic for the championship. Pinecone not really involved in the championship because, of course, he missed the first 2 races. So he's only in what was 5th, but is now 3rd after Simon and Morso have left the league. But Pinecone only has 53 points heading into this race compared to 128 for Surprise. So he will close in on these guys, but not enough to be a contender just yet. He's going to need a few more race wins if he wants to think about the championship, I think.
No doubt about that. I would say, you can't give 50 points of a head start to the likes of Surprise and Leopard. Let's be honest, it'll be very difficult for him to do that. But you still got to tip your hat to Pinecone putting in a great performance today, and he is, by the looks of it, Justin, going to get his first ever win. And as you mentioned earlier, is it going to be the first win of many? Perhaps it will. The way he dispatched the midfield through that second stint. Or first stint, second stint, I should say, was absolutely brilliant. Yeah. And that's key to his victory this afternoon. He just cruised off into the distance. Surprise now within 4/10 of Leopard. And is he going to have one last lunge? We'll have to wait and see. But you got to take the applause. CRG Pinecone as he rounds the hairpin for the final time. Hats off to him. Potentially get that first ever win.
Indeed.
Oh,
yeah, well spotted. Surprise, and Leopard side by side going through the hairpin. Leopard stays ahead for the meantime, but Surprise should be the one picking up the DRS here. I want a picture of Pinecone as he crosses the line, but unfortunately this battle is going on too. Pinecone does indeed cross the line. He's going to pick up his first victory ever in the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy F1 League on the Xbox platform, and it is going to be LCR Leopard who claims that second place position ahead of Surprise. It's so close between the two of them. Unbelievable. I would love to actually see what the gap is. I wasn't 100% sure where that finishing line was, so I wasn't certain if Leopard was actually going to stay ahead of Surprise through all of that. P1R Brown, though, as well, I have to say, P1R Brown, maybe didn't get as much attention or any of that sort of stuff compared to Pinecone, Leopard, and Surprise, but that is a solid fourth place finish for P1R Brown. He's currently 9th in the championship standings, and this will match his best finish of the season so far, the last time being in Bahrain. LCR Mulder closes out the top 5. That should be a pretty good result for him as well. That's also matching his season best. So congratulations to P1R Brown and LCR Mulder. And Danny F31 finally scores some points in 6th as well, picking up 8 championship points. That's going to move him pretty high up, I think, possibly as high as 13th in the standings, something like that. So, wow, that was a really entertaining race. It's kind of brought the championship closer. We have a new winner. I mean, how much more could you ask for?
That was a great race, Justin. Really enjoyed that. I can only assume LCR Leopard ran out of fuel on the finishing line, and for some reason he still finished second. I take it Surprise caught a late race penalty, but he had no warnings up to that stage, so we'll need to clear that up on the results screen. I'm not too sure what happened there, but well done to Pinecone, a first-time winner in AOR. That's what we love to see. Well done, and hopefully the first of many. Surprise and Leopard, they kept things exciting behind that. I missed all the penalties from everyone behind that. Great race. Really enjoyed it. Pinecone on that first win. Let's try and get to that results screen and clear up what happened between Surprise and Leopard. It looked to me like beat Leopard on the line, but according to the
it looked that way to me too. It's not just
yeah. There's a second between them on the time screens. There's got to be an inquest to that because I've got no idea how that's happened, Justin. So I'm sure there'll be a on that, but it certainly appeared to me like Leopard ran out of fuel on the line as well.
I just have a shot of turn 3. Is that what you're getting as well? I'm not getting
any. I've got the results. I'll run through them if you want very quickly.
Yeah, go right ahead.
We've only got 4 seconds. Pinecone, Leopard, Surprise 3rd, Pinecone 4th, Mulder was 5th, Danny 6th, Jason 7th, Franklin Shape, Roberts 9th, and I didn't even see who was 10th because it happened so quickly. I only had 4 seconds there, Justin. But yeah, that was the top 9 at the end of the Grand Prix.
Did you see the gap between Leopard and Surprise?
Yeah, it said it was a second, so there's definitely something not right there. Something not right there. It says Leopard was 4.7 off the victory and Surprise was 5.7, so that doesn't make any sense.
No,
so
it doesn't. There's no such thing as a 1 second penalty.
A 1 second gap when they were right next to each other. So I don't know what's happened there, Justin. I'm sure there'll be discussions after the race in the stewards room about that. We might have to wait till next week before we hear about it, unless we hear from any of them in the interviews. If we do hear from any of them, maybe they can tell us.
I'm sort of hoping to hear from Pinecone, honestly. I mean, yeah, Surprise, Leopard, sure, I'll talk to them, but I want to hear from Pinecone, really. At the very least, I'm sure he'll be tweeting about his inaugural win in the top split of the AOR Xbox One F1 League. I mean, I'm sure everybody who's won a race in the top split of an AOR league remembers the first time that they got one. I am not among that group. I never even scored a podium in the top split, so I certainly cannot claim to tell you what it feels like. But I imagine that Pinecone is just absolutely thrilled with that. I mean, we've been watching him for so long too. Was it season 15, 16, something like that he came in? Such a young driver, so talented, and the way that he's improved, it has been absolutely insane. This season, in particular, last season as well, picking up podiums. I know he had some difficult races as well last season as well. I think he was on for possibly a race win or a podium in Silverstone when he disconnected. So yeah, I know he's had some ups and downs, but aside from Monaco, he's been unbelievably consistent this season, and clearly after today's race, he's got some incredible pace as well. So, I mean, Pinecone is definitely one to watch for the future.
Absolutely delighted for him, Justin. And as you say, you know, it's just bit by bit getting quicker and quicker and quicker. And along with that, this consistency has continued to come. And, you know, finally getting that first win on the board. So I really am pleased for him. And, you know, hopefully it can lead on to greater and better things and a continued upward trend of performance, because we'd love to see him up there challenging the likes of Surprise and Leopard on a more regular basis, wouldn't we? And I think I've actually said that after the Spanish Grand Prix, you asked me who would win in Monaco if it wasn't those two. It turns out it wasn't Pinecone, but he's won the next one. And so I'm happy with that. I'm happy I got that one right.
Yeah, you very nearly predicted that one. You picked the right person, just not the right round. But, oh man, I am absolutely exhausted after that race. That was fantastic. Really, really enjoyed that. Again, I could not have asked for a better race. We had an exciting battle for the lead of the race right up until the end when Pinecone just monstered it. And we had that fantastic battle between the two championship leaders as well. I mean, today's race was sort of the equivalent of like, you know, Vettel and Hamilton battling it out while Verstappen goes off and wins the race. You know, it was that sort of feel to it with the two successful sort of veterans. Leopard, I'd say, is a little bit less of a veteran. But still, you know, the two sort of like established guys in the championship battling it out for second position, while the very young Mercedes driver of Pinecone just ran away with it. And again, we can only hypothesize what may have happened had we not had that issue with Surprise where he disconnected. He lost heaps of time, tons of positions as well, too. And you have to say, potentially driver of the day, just purely for that recovery drive.
It was a really impressive recovery drive, Justin. It was. Came charging back through. But you know what? I'm still going to give it to Pinecone. I thought the way he came through the field after his first pit stop was brilliant. He was really quick, decisive, got those moves done, and it made his third stint so much easier. It made life so much easier. He was brilliant on those tyres. Caught me by surprise. You called it perfectly, Justin. You spotted it well. That it was time to come in and fit a set of softs. So I didn't expect the soft, medium, soft to work, and you know, he just played it brilliantly and made the tyres work even while overtaking people in that second stint. And he's my driver of the day, getting his first win ever.
Yep, so, I gotta agree with you. I would say Surprise, really good job. I mean, incredible drive, a champion's drive, really, to recover to that, to be on the podium after disconnecting, losing all those positions, keeping his head in the game. You know, that's what you need to do. It's all about damage limitation, and that's exactly what Surprise did today. He got himself back into the lobby, he got himself a nice haul of points, and he continues on in the championship. That is it for the 7th round. We have 14 races still to go in this championship. We're 33%, 1/3 of the way through the championship so far. Surprise continues to lead at the top, but with Leopard behind, and Pinecone, after picking up his first ever race win, who knows? What can he do with 14 races still to go? Will he carry this momentum into France potentially? Who knows? All I can hope for is that the French Grand Prix is more exciting than the real life French Grand Prix. But I don't doubt that. I mean, what are your predictions for France? I mean, you know, plenty of overtaking opportunities and that kind of stuff. Do you think it's going to be a good one?
I'll say this, Justin. There's absolutely no doubt it's going to be better than the real life French Grand Prix. That will not take much. No, I'm going to be honest. Sometimes the French track on this game, the DRS is too overpowered, and it can be quite artificial. It can feel like a go-kart race from time to time, where it just chases on right to the very end, and it's whoever does the move on the last lap. But you know, makes it quite interesting, and it does give us a tense final lap. I think a couple of times, Justin, we've been together in the commentary box, and Evo, I think it was a couple of seasons ago, made a crucial last lap move to win a race. So you know, it should be exciting. I'm looking forward to it, and yeah.
Well, we may have lost Simon, we may have lost more so, but we have gained Pinecone, and I think really that's what matters. So that is going to do it for round 7 of the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy F1 League on the Xbox platform, Season 18. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and joining. We, of course, appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out with us while we go over these broadcasts. So big thanks to you guys from myself and from Andy, and we will see you next time for round 8 for the French Grand Prix. Bye-bye.